All right, Commissioner Glork.
Commissioner Glorick here.
I know she's here. Commissioner Locke.
She's on mute.
Unmuted. Commissioner Locke. I think we're unmuting ourselves at the same time. Not sure what's going on here. Commissioner Locke, can you unmute yourself?
Maybe she stepped away for a sec.
I think she's using a.
All right, I'll move on. Macchio.
Commissioner Macchio here.
Commissioner Volpe.
Commissioner Volpe here.
Alternate Albanese. I know she's here too. Alternate Albanese.
You're muted, Teresa.
Can you hear me?
I can barely hear you. I know you're here. Alternate Coles.
Alternate Coles here.
Alternate Coviello. Alternate Salvacle. Secretary Santiago.
Santiago here.
Vice Chair Salka.
Salka here.
Chair Hammersley.
Hammersley here. We have a quorum. I did hear from Joe Coviello. He said he might be a little bit late, so I guess that he should be coming sometime soon. And I too see Sue Locke's on there, but I didn't hear her. But if we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and I don't think we have a flag, so we'll
Yeah,
have to
I'm sorry, my kids lost the flag.
We'll have to imagine one, I suppose. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all.
Wow.
If we can remain standing for a moment of silent reflection, I'm sorry. Thanks, guys. Item number 6 on the agenda. Can we get a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting on July 21st, 2020?
Commissioner Salka makes a motion to approve the minutes of the July 21st meeting.
Motion by Commissioner Salka, second.
Santiago, I'll second.
Commissioner Santiago, second. Are there any changes that anyone has to the minutes?
Chairman Hammersley, it's Jeff Glorick, Commissioner Glorick. Do we want to wait for Sue Locke to come back? I just saw her pop off. I don't know if you want to sit somebody in the meantime for her.
Yeah, she's not listed right now.
She's not listed right now?
No, she's not in.
Okay, why don't we get Caleb to sit in there while she's off? Caleb, can you handle it? You got it, right? You're good. Okay. Are there any changes to the minutes from July 21st? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? Motion passes. Moving to item 7A, special permit application of Briarwood Real Estate Limited Partnership for a master plan of individual uses allowed under section 3-01.2, special permit uses in a residential 80-40 zones, property located at 2279 Mount Vernon Road in an R40 zone, SPU number 629. This has been continued from the last meeting on July 21st. Rob, it's my understanding that the applicant wishes to withdraw that application at this time.
You are correct, Mr. Chair.
Do we need a motion on that, or do we need to do anything?
It would be yes.
Seth, did you want to say something? I saw your hand up.
The request to withdraw.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, Sev Bovino from Croucher Johnson and Associates
Yes, sir.
represented the applicant, Briarwood Realty. I officially, on their behalf, request to withdraw the application without prejudice.
Thanks, Sev.
Thank
Is there
you.
any discussion on this? I don't think we really have any, but if we can get a motion to withdraw this application.
I'll make a motion to accept the withdrawal of the applicant.
Motion by Commissioner Coles. Do we have a second?
Second by Commissioner Locke.
There she is.
Welcome
Commissioner
back.
Locke is a second. This is just a voice vote, I assume, so go ahead.
I'm on
Hold-
the phone,
hold on.
not on my video. Something happened. I don't know.
Let's make sure that we have this correct, because I think Cole's made the motion, and if Locks is in, we need to adjust that.
Okay, so let me just go back. If we could just, Caleb, if you could just withdraw your motion.
Gladly.
I'd like to make it easier, and I'll go ahead and second.
Okay, wait a second. Commissioner Locke, can you withdraw your second on that?
Withdraw.
Okay, so back to where we were. Can we get a motion to withdraw the application?
Yes, I would like to motion
Commissioner
to approve
Volpe
the.
makes a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Selka seconds the motion.
Okay, Commissioner Salka is a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Sev, your motion, your request to withdraw is granted.
This is all for Linda.
What's that?
I said, this is all for Linda.
She's probably going a little bit crazy, but item 7B, Crosford and Jones and Associates special permit application for a modification of existing gas station convenience store and to expand the building size, add a drive-through, and increase the number of pumps. Property owned by Sunrise Southington LLC, located at 11 Marion Avenue in an I2 zone, parcel size 0.61 acres, SPU number 638. Sev.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commission members. My name is Sev Bovino, planner with Cratzer Jones and Associates. Represented the owner, Sunrise Southington LLC. The property is located at number 11 Marion Avenue, next to the on-ramp to I-84, heading east. It is zone I2. The land area, as you mentioned, is 0.61 acres. It's served by public water and sewer. The facility is a gas station with a convenience store with a floor area of 1,960 square feet, plus or minus, 4 pumps, and currently serves sandwiches and coffee to people that walk into the facility. Orientation of the property: to the west, we have the on-ramp to 84, and property owned by the state of Connecticut. To the north and east, we have property owned by Burkham LLP, which is the factory that's across from us on the other side of the 8 Mile River. To the south, we have Marion Avenue. The facility needs to upgrade and modernize their model to meet current business standards in the industry, and the need to accommodate current clients in this world of social distancing and added safety measures due to the virus concerns. This will hopefully maintain the client base and not lose customers. Therefore, our proposal is to 1, increase the floor space to 3,228 square feet, 2, increase the number of pumps to 8, 3, add a drive-through for coffee and sandwiches to give the option of not to have to come into the store to be served. The menu board is about 220 feet from the edge of Marion Avenue. In addition, we are planning to have a second floor for office space and storage. The total number of spaces required is 24. We are providing 26. There was a question regarding the 3 spaces along the 8 Mile River. property is not owned by us, but the parking spaces were allowed to be there since the 70s. The property owner to the east, which is the factory, at one time split this property from their property, and to avoid getting a variance, they created an unusual property line, a zigzag, that included that paved area. The required landscape area is 520 square feet. We are providing 1,000 square feet. We are proposing adding trees, flowering shrubs, and perennials to the property. The number of curb cuts will be the same, 2 curb cuts. No change to the size of the curb cuts. We are improving the concrete pads, the concrete aprons, to prevent bottoming out of the cars coming in. Some smaller cars, now and then they have a problem. They hit the bottom. We are proposing these improvements based on Section 5-02.2J of the zoning regulations, which allows expansions to an existing non-conforming gas station, convenience store within 1,500 feet of an interchange by special permit. The allowed lot coverage is 50%. We are proposing 24.56%. The proposed building is within the setback required. However, the canopy needed some variances, which were granted by ZBA. We received planning comments. We responded to them and forwarded new plans reflecting the revisions and provided the answers in writing. With the application, we submitted copies of the existing conditions, A2 survey and T2, with an A2 certification and T2 certification for the topography. We also submitted development plans, the 500-foot radius map showing properties within that radius, and owners' names and addresses. We notified the owners as required and provided proof of mailing to the planning department. We believe that the proposed expansion is in keeping with the intent of Section 5-02.2J. It is in harmony with the surrounding properties, does not hinder or discourage their development. It does not impact their property values. Part of the application, there was also a building elevation that was submitted later today. I don't know if Rob had an opportunity to upload it into the computer. If he did, you can see that elevation shows that the building is going to be a 2-story, will look similar to the one that's there, but embellish it with the new features on it. The existing buildings will be removed, and the canopy will be removed. Everything will be brand new. If you have any questions at this time, we'll be glad to answer.
Okay, so just so everybody knows, Rob Phillips is having some technical difficulties, so he's not available right now. But Steph, I'm just gonna open it up for commission members to ask you any questions that they might have. I'll just call your names out in no particular order, but and I don't think Joe Coviello is there right now. Why don't we start with you, Caleb?
Sure, thank you. Just one quick question. The proposed food service expansion of that for the drive-through, was their plan submitted to the health district for that at this point?
No, not at this point.
Okay, and then that is on town sewer, correct?
Yes, public sewer. I don't know. Within the department, we submit 7 sets of plans, and the planning department distributes those plans to the appropriate departments. So they may have actually sent it to the health department, but because we have public sewers, it will be just a matter of inspecting the food area at the time when they construct the building.
Okay, and then I guess I'm sure that some of my other colleagues would like to answer the same question or have the same question asked and answered. But as far as potential contamination of the site, are there provisions available for cleanup of that?
There was comments by the planning department in terms of providing containment area around the pumps spill kits and also a plan to implement a plan to take care of any pollutants that may spill from pumping gas during the pumping operation.
Thank you. I'm sure my
Pretty
colleagues.
self-contained. We're going to have hoods on the catch basins to prevent oils from migrating into the river. So if some oils or gasoline is spilled on the pavement past the pump areas, we'll be able to pump it out from the catch basin.
Thank you, Seth.
Thank you.
That's it for me, Chairman.
Hey, Caleb, just to your first question on the health department, it was sent to them. It is part of the packet. They came back and said that they didn't have any problems. And then they'll review once the special permits are reviewed or approved.
Gotcha.
That was their comments on 629. Okay, Commissioner Volpe.
Good evening, thank you. Hi, Seb. I really enjoy this area of Plantsville, as you may know. I also really enjoy the HD Smithing Company. Oh, Rob's back. Building. And the welcome back. And the history that the 8 Mile River has in this area. The only thing that I'm concerned about on here is the location of the dumpster. It does seem a little close to the river to me. If anything, it would just be a consideration. I know that that's probably a difficult thing to ask of you, but if not moving the dumpster to the left-hand side, like, you know, it seems like the lane is a little wider there too for exiting vehicles through the drive-through. And the dumpster being so close to that guardrail in the 8 Mile River, I'm just nervous that, you know, I'm going to go and shoot, you know, my own trash in there and it might tumble into the river.
There's a quick drop that's about 10 feet away, probably into the river, as you mentioned, maybe more than 10 feet. But we were trying to get the 2 lanes from the drive-through to continue the 2 lanes there on the west side by the highway. We can look at that and see if we can throttle it down to a single lane again from the pickup window. But that might be a problem. We can look at that during the site plan process.
Yeah, that would be my only thing, and I appreciate that you took the time. Isn't it remarkable to think the 8 Mile River used to be way wider than that? You could fit a barge almost through it. So, pretty cool. That's my tidbit. Thank you, Sev. This is great.
Yep, thank you.
Commissioner Gork.
This is Commissioner Gork. Sev, I saw in the fire department's notes, are they still planning on selling propane?
I don't know the answer to that, but if they are selling it now, then most likely they will.
Because I guess they commented that they'd have to relocate the propane cage, and I just didn't see it on any of the drawings unless I missed it, but...
No, I didn't receive those comments, so I did not react to it. We can address that with the site plan.
Okay, and the other question, I guess the underground storage tanks, they're going to be removed and relocated. Do you know where they're going to be relocated?
Yes, it'll be to the west. I think we have a note on the plan here that with the leader to the west of the property.
Okay, but yeah, I saw the note there. I just didn't know exactly where they were going to be positioned. So they're pretty much in the same location as they are currently, correct?
Well, currently, if you look at the existing condition map, they are in that concrete pad, almost in the center of the property, with all the covers, manhole covers, and we're going to remove all that and rebuild it. And the tanks, yeah, you're right. They may be close to that area. Yes.
Okay, and I guess the last, you said that you had responded to all the staff comments?
I did, yeah, from planning. However, I didn't get, Jim Grappone was on a short vacation, and I only got one comment from him. He might have additional comments for the site plan, I'm sure.
All right, and then Rob, do we have the rendering of the building? I didn't see it online for access. Would you be able to shoot that and share it with us, or?
We sent it to him probably at 3 o'clock, so I'm wondering if he was able to upload it.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to share that right now. Stand by.
Seth probably could share it too, right, Rob?
Yeah, that would be ideal.
I don't have it with me right now.
Okay, well,
Guess
you work
this
on
is Commissioner Work. I guess that was just my last. I just wanted to see a visual of the building with the 2 stories, and then and so while Rob's working on that, we could move on to anybody else who has questions. That's it for me.
Yeah, thanks. And there's a site plan under the business section of the agenda. So we'll have time and we'll try to get that up and so that we can take a look at it. But that's a good ask. Commissioner Albanese. Gotta unmute yourself, Teresa. There you go.
Hello, yes, can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, great, excellent. Okay, I do have a couple, this is Commissioner Albanese, I do have a couple questions. Seb, are any of the materials from the demo of the building contaminated, what types of materials that need to be, like handled appropriately or reported to the deep regarding asbestos or anything? I don't know the age of the structure, but there is going to be quite a bit of demo going on with that facility.
Yes, the demo will be done according to demolition. There'll be a demolition permit, so the town will be involved, the building department. And so if there is anything found, as you mentioned, it will be addressed.
Okay, all right, I know this gas station quite well. Are they maintaining the same 2 access and egress and ingress locations? Are they changing those at all?
No, not at all. The same location, yes.
Okay, and I think I second Commissioner Volpe's request for the dumpster to be relocated. If we can get as much as we can away from the 8 Mile River, that would be great. And my last inquiry is, do we need to coordinate at all with the DOT, considering we have the right of way right there?
This is the town road at this location, so we are working with the engineering department to address any concerns.
That the DOT might have. Okay.
No longer a state road at this location.
Right, but the proximity, I guess you share right of way. I think this property shares the right of way with the DOT, with the state highway. Unless that isn't right of way. It is state of Connecticut right of way, it appears. So I'm just curious about the coordination that's going on with the state.
Jim Grappone is here at the meeting. He can answer your question, but I don't believe it's a state right away at this location.
Seb's correct. Seb's correct. Marion Avenue is a town road. It would just be the on-ramp. That would be a DOT.
Right, exactly. Okay, thank you. I have no other questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Teresa. Commissioner Machio.
Commissioner Macchio, no, questions that I had have already been asked and answered, so I'm fine right now. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Santago.
Thank you. No, I don't have any questions, but it's always good to see a business wanting to expand on their existing place. So I think that's good. And this place has been there forever. So good for them. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, Peter. Commissioner Salko.
Can anybody see my screen right now?
No, Rob, we don't see you. Just your standard.
I just saw him. There we are.
He's got his stock photo up there. Commissioner Salka, any questions?
The only question I have for Seb, have you formalized the parking that is owned by the company to the east? One of the stipulations I'd like to put in, if we do pass this, would be that we formalize that those 3 parking spaces with that company to the east. If you have no problem with that.
No, we don't have any formal agreement, but if that's what you'd like to see, we would definitely contact them and see what we can do with that.
Thank you. That's the only question I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Bob. Commissioner Coviello is with us now, so I don't know, Joe, if you had a chance to catch your breath or if you have any questions on this application.
Yeah, no, Bob, just coming in cold, didn't really catch the conversation. To be honest, haven't reviewed the detailed material yet, so I'll withhold at the moment.
Okay, thanks, Joe. At this time, we'll open it up to members of the public. If there's anyone out there who'd like to testify.
Bob, I don't have any questions either.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sue. How did I forget you? Commissioner Locke.
Because we don't see it. We only see the phone. That's why.
I know, I'm going to pay for that one. Commissioner Locke, do you have any questions?
No, I do not.
Okay. Sorry about that, Sue. Are there any members of the public who wish to testify in favor of this application?
I'm gonna unmute all at this point.
Okay. Is anyone wishing to testify in favor of the application? If they could just speak up and let us know who they are and their address, please. I'm wishing to testify in opposition to this application. Again, I don't hear anybody.
All right, so Mr. Chair, I'm gonna mute all real quick, and I'm gonna unmute you. Go ahead.
Were you
Mr.
unmuted?
Chair?
You, Bob.
Okay. All right. So I didn't see any member of the public speak up or want to testify either in favor or in opposition to this. Are there any other questions from commission members?
Mr. Chairman, it's Commissioner Gork.
Commissioner Quirk, go ahead.
Is anybody else interested in seeing, or have people seen the rendering? I'd really like to see that before we make a motion to vote on this or close it.
Yeah, I know. Just Peter Santiago. Yeah, I for one would like to see a rendering of the building.
Commissioner Volpe here. Yeah, I would as well, just because we want to make sure that it's conforming to that National Register item that's right next to it, the factory.
All right, if you could hold on one moment, I'm gonna try and like share this screen one more time.
Mr. Chairman, point of order though.
Commissioner Sargo, go ahead.
So what we have in the public hearing is a special permit application, which is a separate motion and separate thing from the site plan. So the site plan is under the business section of the agenda. So we can approve the special permit and close the public hearing for special permit, and then the rendering would fall under the site plan later in the agenda. If I got that right, Rob.
Yeah, just to clarify, I mean, a rendering is helpful, but you have no regulations that are going to dictate whether one rendering is better than the other as far as aesthetic purposes. So it's really just an understanding based upon what you see. I'm still trying to figure out how to get the screen.
Rob, if you don't have it on my iPhone, I can show it on the screen maybe.
Yeah, if you could, sir, please.
I don't know if you can see it on the iPhone.
No, it's too bright.
No, it looks like a white. It's all white.
Has some brick treatment columns on the bottom and the columns and vertical.
Rob, what we could do is before we close this, we can go to item C on the agenda maybe and do that. Maybe in the meantime you can.
Either way, I mean, you don't have aesthetic requirements for a special permit as far as like the rendering. So I mean, you really don't have any authority there. Hold up there.
I'd like to get one up there just so commission members can see it.
Okay.
If that's going to take some time, I mean, I'm happy to move on to item 7C just to get that one going.
That's fine.
If it's okay with Sev, if we just put this on hold first for a little bit, Sev, and come back to you.
No problem.
You good with that?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll move to item 7C, home occupation application for Stephanie Albert for Cottage food license to deliver chocolate covered pretzels, Oreos, and strawberries that are made and designed for the residence property located at 11 Pole Road, owned by Daniel Dupuis in an R12 zone, HO number 75. Stephanie.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, so I was just hoping to get this home occupation application passed so I can submit a cottage food application with the health department. I did these berries while I'm going to culinary school right now, and I was doing some of them for family and friends, and it kind of took off. It's a great way for me to be able to work from home. I think I kind of offer really good prices, especially because my only competitor is Edible Arrangements in town. I just would like to pursue this. It's a great thing while I'm going to school too. So yeah, what kind of questions do you guys have for me?
Well, Stephanie, you had me at chocolate, so I'll open up the floor and we'll start with Commissioner Locks this time.
Okay, cool.
Sue, do you have any questions?
We lost her again.
Commissioner Locks? We'll go back to Commissioner Locks. Commissioner Coviello. Joe? Joe Coviello, do you have any questions? You know, we're getting really good at this, and for some reason tonight is
seems like everybody's on mute.
It does, and people need to unmute yourself so we can hear you. We'll come back to Joe. Commissioner Coles, any questions?
Mr. Chair, I have to respectfully say I don't think I should comment on this application.
Okay. Commissioner Volpe.
No questions at this time. This is Commissioner Volpe. I think it's a fabulous idea, and I wish you the best of luck for it.
Thank you so much, Christina. I appreciate it.
Commissioner Quark.
This is Commissioner Gwark. It all sounds delicious. I guess my only question is, you know, what kind of quantity are we putting together here, cooking and delivering? Are there people coming to pick stuff up, or just basically more of info on that side of the operation, delivery and such?
Yeah, so I would really like to deliver as much as possible with pickup as a last resort option. Just, you know, to minimize traffic, and also I don't really want to be giving out my home address to all of Southington. No offense, but yeah. Oh, and as far as how much I would put together, I tried to put together a menu, and I only go up to 3 dozen. If somebody let me know ahead of time, I would, but I'm a one woman operation, so I'm really only thinking I would take 2 to 3 orders a day. If it even came to that, you know, I have to worry about school. I'm taking a couple classes this fall. So like I said, this is more of a side job where I can work from home. It's just great during this pandemic, and, you know, helps me while I'm going to school as well.
It's Commissioner Gwark again. Thank you. Is there any, I don't know if Rob's still around, the health department, is there anything involved? I saw the check mark on their form that it was looked at, so I assume everything's good with them, and I don't think anything else is required, but does anybody know?
It's Jeff, it's regulated by the Department of Consumer Protection at the state level. Cottage food industry is regulated by them.
Okay, that was it. It's Commissioner Gwark. That's all I have.
Okay, Commissioner Albanese.
Commissioner Albanese, I'm the biggest fan of chocolate. I wish you the best of luck, and I can't wait to try some.
Thank you so very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
The Teresa challenge accepted. I think I can outdo you, but Commissioner Macchio.
Commissioner Macchio. The only question I have is what are going to be pretty much the hours that you do these deliveries? Will they be on weekends?
It's really depending on my schedule, but I kind of try to I would want to operate normal business hours. So nothing before 8 a.m. and nothing after 9.
Sounds reasonable to me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Commissioner Santago?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As we were chatting before the meeting, Stephanie, this just sounds like the tastiest application we've had in a while. And it's rare that we read an application that can make virtually every commission member smile. And this is one of them. So best of luck to you. I don't have any questions.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks, Peter. Commissioner Stano?
Just one question. I look forward to trying some of this stuff, but I guess the only question I have, it sounded like in the application, it says license to deliver. And then Stephanie was mentioning that she didn't want to give her address out, but it wasn't definite that there was not going to be people showing up at her house to pick up. And I guess my question would be, can we stipulate that it will be for delivery only? And can Stephanie, would that be okay with Stephanie?
That would be fine with me.
That's my only question. Thank you very much. Look forward to trying it.
Thanks, Bob. Commissioner Locks? He's out there. So we can't hear you, so I don't know if you've unmuted yourself or not, but if you... Okay. So if you have any questions, if you want to just text me, I can ask them. You can ask them through me. But Commissioner Coviello, I don't know if he's still on or not. He said he lost his internet, so.
So I'm sorry, I'm Chairman.
Albanese.
I have a question. You can tell people to put their questions probably in the chat box, and I don't know, and it could be directed to you or directed to Rob. So maybe that's another way to get questions. You know.
That's a good idea, Teresa.
Yeah,
People are on
okay.
phones. I don't think really have that option, but.
Okay. Well, it's part of the WebEx application, so you would think a lot of people should have that application. Yeah. So, all right. Thank you.
Okay. So if we can open up the, just heard from Sue, she says she has no questions. So if we can open it up to members of the public, is there anyone here to testify in favor of this application? Can you mute everybody, or if somebody, I know there's a raise a hand option. Is there anyone here to testify in favor of this application?
Can everybody hear me?
Yep. Yeah.
I'm going to unmute all.
Is there anyone to testify in favor of this application? I hear none. Is there anyone to testify in opposition to this application? Dan, I hear none. Any reason to keep this application open, Rob?
No, I'm going to mute all for a second. I want to unmute you, Chair Hammersley, and go. No reason.
There's no reason. Stephanie, anything else you want to add before we close the public hearing?
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. No, I think I'm all set.
Okay. So, Seb, I'm coming back to your application under 7B. Rob, I don't know if you were able to figure out a way to get the rendering up there.
I have not.
Commissioner, what's your pleasure there? I know a number of you have asked to see renderings. I get that. As Rob said, we really don't have any regulatory authority over the rendering?
I can add that the building is basically a contemporary building. It doesn't have a pitch roof on it, if that's what you were looking for. And it's a 2-story with a little top to it. Has windows, obviously, and the typical retail space type of windows with the main entrance with some treatment, like an overhang made out of metal, and brick facade together with other features like drive-it type of material. It's not a colonial looking building. It's more of a contemporary.
Okay. Thanks, Ev. Thanks for your description. Jeff Gork, I'm going to come back to you just because you had raised it initially, and I just want to know what your thoughts are on this.
No, this is Commissioner Gork. I'm fine with not, I'd like to see it, but I'm fine with, I guess, not seeing it, hearing the description. And on this, as Commissioner Santago said, I mean, this one doesn't really apply. The rendering doesn't apply for the SPU. It would possibly apply for the site plan application in the next part, but I'm good.
Okay. Thanks, Jeff. Commissioner Volpe, you raised a question on seeing the rendering too, so I want to make sure that you're comfortable before we move on.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Volpe here. I'm going to have to agree with Commissioner Gork. I'm going to pay more attention to it when we talk about it in the site plan, because I do think it's important. I do want to see it, and there does seem to be, some changes in historic Plantsville. I just want to ensure that we're putting buildings that conform and look nice over there. So I just want to look at it later on.
Okay. Is there any, thanks, Christina. Is there any other commission member that wants to weigh in on this right now?
Hold on a second. I'm trying to pull it up from my personal email right now.
Mr. Chair, this is Peter Santago. Rob, is it possible for you to email the commission members and we could look at it via email, and then it can be put to the record on the website post meeting?
Yeah, it was sent to us, so it's on the record. I'm just trying to figure out a way to
I mean, if we want to see it, you could email it to us and we could see it. I mean, it's not optimal, but it is a way for us to take a look.
Yeah, it's not working. So I sent it to my personal email, and it's still not coming through. So at this point in time, there's nothing I can do right now.
Commissioner Volpe here. Could Sev send it to the Planning and Zoning Commission email? Because then wouldn't it go to all of us?
Record, they did send it. It's very frustrating.
Okay, so this would normally
Seth,
fall
can you
under-
send that to everybody?
Some of the discussion would fall underneath the site plan discussion, correct, Rob?
Yeah, I mean, either way, the commission doesn't have any authority over the aesthetics of a facade in the business zone.
This is
We have, though, in the past made recommendations, certainly not from certainly applicants could tell us to, go away and ignore it. But we have in the past, when someone has come to us, make a recommendation, could you do this, could you do that? And so it's not out of character for us to ask to see something and say, gee whiz, could you do that? So it's not without precedent that we have done that.
Correct.
This is Commissioner Gwark. If everybody opens up the chat, there's a link posted by JM for the rendering. Should open right up. I just opened mine up. and again, this is Commissioner Gork. I'm all set with the rendering. I got it, and I'm good with it.
Got it. Okay, there we go.
Commissioner Volpe here. I just have a spinning wheel, so just give me a moment.
Yeah, I got the same thing, Christina.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here.
I'm feeling good.
I
I'm
was
not
able-
the only one with internet.
I was able to view it. It looks pretty good.
Commissioner Albanese, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, yes, yeah, it looks more industrial
Yes,
to
we
me
can-
as opposed to contemporary. But I think it looks fine though as well.
Commissioner Coles here. I do have one question, if I may, Mr. Chair. The direction of the drive-through, how is that situated, Seth? Around the building, through the back?
Yes, this is Seth Bovino. Yes, it goes to the right of the building and then swings to the rear and then comes back on the west side alongside the on-ramp property. It's shown on your landscaping plan. You can see it easier, or the grading plan, either way. But yes, enters from the curb cut to the east, which is the one closest to West Street. That's your first curb cut if you're coming from West Street, and goes straight in by the pumps, and then goes to the right of the building, goes to the rear, and comes out on the west side and comes back out to the second curb cut.
So I think that Christina and I are both having the same problem. We get the spinning wheel, but we don't get anything showing up. So Peter, do you have it? Could you share your screen with us just so it shows up?
Ashbeth, as we say in Italian. Christina got that one.
Can you see mine?
No.
Okay, 'cause it's up on my screen.
Do you want me to
Did you do
share?
Yeah, did you get share content? Did you do
Let me
it?
see if I can share. Hold on. Mine popped up pretty quickly. Hold on a second. For the right screen. Here we go. It should be sharing.
Starting to share content.
Can you guys see it now or no?
Yay!
Well, look at that.
It looks industrial to me, but I think it's a good match, Christine. I mean, I think it kind of blends a little bit with the the historic feature opposite side of the river. I mean, it kind of looks to me it looks industrial, but I'm not one to speak of what facades look like. So.
Yeah, this is Commissioner Volpe here, architectural historian full-time, and it's pretty nice. I like that we have, some definitely century industrial vibes going with it. It would be something more progressive for development of that area, just because of the historic structures that do surround it. I do really enjoy the brick. I like the black, so it's really a go for me, even though I know you said I just feel better that I saw it now and can say that the uniformity of the historic district will be retained. So the brick was a great touch. The windows are nice. It does look huge. The sign is kind of tiny, but what are you going to do about that? So thank you, Seb. And Teresa, thank you so much. Commissioner Volpe, out.
All right, I can stop sharing
Thanks,
now.
Christina.
Okay?
Yeah, thanks, Christina. Thanks, Teresa.
You're welcome.
Is there any other questions from commission members on this application? Rob, you said there's no reason to keep this application open.
Yeah, no, sorry. Thankfully, somebody posted that.
So we can close the public hearing at this time?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Okay, so moving on to the business meeting, if I could just pull an audible and maybe let Stephanie go first, because I feel like the conversation with her is going to be a lot less. And as much as she'd like to sit here and listen to us talk about a gas station with a drive-through, I just prefer to give her the option if she ever wanted to cut out. If that's okay with commission members, if we could just jump to item 8D. Is everyone okay with that? Is there any objection? Okay, so under item 8D, home occupation application of Stephanie Albert for a cottage food license to deliver chocolate covered pretzels, Oreos, and strawberries that are made and designed by a residence property located at 11 Wood Road, owned by David Dupuy at
Whippoorwill.
in an R12 zone, HO number 75. Can I get a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve HO number 75 with the stipulation that it's for delivery only.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Salka. Do we have a second?
Commissioner Macchio, I'll second.
Commissioner Macchio with a second. Is there any discussion on this? Any commission members have discussion? Sue Locks, anything? I can see most of the people were shaking their heads, but. I don't hear anything from Sue, so I don't hear Sue, but, okay. I think this stuff is great. This is small business, folks. This is a great thing that the legislature did. Rarity, but it happens sometimes. So, Rob, can you go ahead and call the roll on this, please?
Sure. Warwick,
Commissioner Gwark, yes.
Fox, I think we lost Locks. Macchio,
She's there, Rob. I'm getting her text, but I for some reason I can't hear her.
yeah, this has been a rough one.
Yeah.
Commissioner Macchio, yes.
Volpe,
Commissioner Volpe, yes.
Montego,
Montego, yes.
Salka,
Commissioner Salka, yes.
Hammersley,
Hammersley is a yes. I just heard from Sue, and she's letting me know via text that she's in favor of this. And with that, motion passes 7-0. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to someday trying your product out. So
Thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate y'all supporting this idea. Thank you.
thanks, Stephanie. Have a great night.
You too. Thank you.
Item 8A, special permit application. Well, Rob, we don't need to do anything on this one, right? It's been withdrawn.
Which one?
It's the Briarwood College.
Yeah, no, just a consensus accept the withdrawal.
Okay, can we get a consensus, or a motion for consensus to accept the withdrawal on item 8A?
Yes.
Is that it?
Salka made a motion, Santiago seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No, no one opposed. I heard from Sue that she accepted the withdrawal, so that motion passes. Item B. This is to be the first meeting where we're operating via text and video conferencing at the same time. Strange days. Item 8B, Chrysler and Jones and Associates, special permit application for modifications of existing gas station convenience store and to expand the building size out of drive-through and increase the number of property owned by Sunrise Southington LLC located at 11 Marion Avenue in an I-2 zone, parcel size 0.61 acres, SPU number 638. Can we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, make a motion to approve SBU 638 with the stipulation that they get the permission, formulate the permission for the adjacent property owner for that parking.
Rob, is that stipulation more appropriate on the site plan or is it on this piece?
I didn't quite hear that.
Bob Salka made a motion to accept item 8B with a stipulation on the parking spaces that will memorialize those parking spaces. Is that appropriate?
Yeah, no, it's better on the special permit.
Okay, great. So we have a motion from Commissioner Salka. Can we have a second?
Well, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, when you're ready, I have a question.
Okay, let me just get a second, Seven, then we'll come back to you.
Yep.
Do you have a second?
I'll second. This is Peter Santiago.
Okay, Commissioner Santiago with a second. Sev, go ahead. What do you got?
Mr. Chairman, if there is a problem with a neighbor where he doesn't want to put something in writing, I don't want to be in a situation where the special permit is null and void because of that. So if there's a way to introduce this without being a stipulation, it would be appreciated.
Rob, planning director, just to chime in. That's the whole point. If there's a problem with property owners, we want to make sure that the parking is not going to become a problem.
Right.
Yeah,
I think Seth, part of the concern is that, say 10 years down the line, somebody goes in there and there's some type of a problem, and all of a sudden they're pulling and saying you guys can't park, whoever the Sunrise Southington can't park there, and then we have a situation where it doesn't have enough parking spaces, and we're scrambling to try to figure out what to do then.
We have 2 extra spaces right now, and we would have to make up one, which we can do by either looking somewhere else or reducing some of the square footage. So I'm just trying to save a problem in terms of the special permit.
I get it. You're not going to shave the square footage of the building after it's already been constructed, however.
No. Oh, no. After construction, I mean.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it could be 5 years, it could be a year, it could be 10 years from now. So I think we're trying to incentivize everybody to get together. Seems like there's an amicable relationship there right now, to get together and to work out something so that those 3 parking spaces can become part of this site plan. Did I misspeak, Bob Solka, or is that where you are?
That's what I'm looking for. Yes.
Okay, if that's what the commission intention is, but we're going to approach the property owner, but I just want to avoid that we would have to come back to you with a revision to the special permit. We're going to do that, but just in case, if we lose the parking spaces, where's the option? What do we have as an option? And I would say we would have to reduce the proposal or find another spot for a parking spot. And so as long as we can do that within the site plan procedure, we're open to that.
So Rob Phillips, Director of Planning again. I mean, these are existing parking spaces. We're just trying to make sure we memorialize these. So you're not going to lose them. It's just a matter of fact, just putting it on the land records.
Yeah, the thing is, I understand that the person, I just got an email from the owner, is that the person has not created a problem in terms of say, get off of my property. But on the other hand, he has not been willing to put something in writing. I don't know why. So that's what we are. So,
well, I guess, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Salka.
Salka, go ahead.
I guess the question would be then, if that's not been formalized, and like you were saying, 5 years down the road, if the property owner in the adjacent property says you can't park there, the building's up, what do we do? The option we have is either Seb, is we either formalize it, or you come back with a plan that allows for the parking. Make the building smaller, et cetera. That's the options we have.
Yeah, if an agreement can't be reached, we'd rather know now than know
right
down the line when it's too late to make a modification or to change something in order to address that.
Yeah, no, we're definitely going to do that. So in case we're not successful, the special permit does not approve the square footage, it approves the use, correct? So if we have to reduce the square footage or find the spot somewhere else, that's what we have to do. It will be done with, before construction at the site plan time.
So I'm confident in your negotiating skills that you can work out an arrangement and an agreement in order to memorialize it and to be in conformity with the motion that we have up before us right now.
Okay.
All right. Is there any discussion from commission members? Commissioner Coviello?
Matt, Bob.
You all set? Commissioner Coles? No. Commissioner Volpe? All set? Commissioner Gork?
This is Commissioner Gork. Is there any way we could amend that? Because he's got 2 extra spaces now with those 3 spaces, correct? So if we want him to move the dumpster, he could potentially put a parking space there and have all the required parking spaces. Is that accurate? Because I don't want this, like Sev said, to hang up his entire project just because he can't get it in writing. Is there some language we could just put in that says, as long as he has the required parking spaces on his property, then things can go forward? Or I don't know how to exactly say it. I'm not a lawyer, but I was just wondering if that's an option.
Any thoughts, Rob Phillips?
Yeah, I mean, so they have obviously a historical agreement with parking from the neighboring property. I just think it's probably in everybody's best interest to have a memorialized parking agreement, because if the property is transferred in any way, there may be a problem. And to meet the parking requirements for this property, they need to have those spaces which lie on a different property.
I hear what you're saying, Jeff, and I get it, but whether it's 1 parking space or 3 parking spaces doesn't make a difference. I mean, we still have to have a memorialization that they have enough parking spaces. And the question was asked to Sev earlier about moving the dumpster, and I thought what I heard was that he was going to look at it, but he wasn't sure that that would be feasible or not. I mean, I'm looking at the site plan right now. I don't, given the drive-through, I don't know where you can move that other than where it is there.
Doesn't it protect you, Mr. Chairman? Doesn't it, the town, isn't the town protected if you stipulate that we have the appropriate parking without going into that private issue between the 2 property owners? So if we don't have the appropriate parking, we have to reduce the scope of the project or find it somewhere else on the property. Like I'm looking now in the back of the drive-through, there's a little bit of area there. Maybe we could fit a parking or 2 back there for the employee.
But Sev, even if you do that, you have to come back to us, because then you're not, if we approve the site plan, which is not what we're talking about right now, you'd have to come back to us with a revised site plan, correct?
Yeah, no, I was talking about getting the your action on the SPU, and then maybe table the site plan, since we have to wait for Rapone's comments, and that gives us an opportunity to work on the parking issue.
Well, I think the preference was stated that we wanted to have this on the SPU and not on the site plan.
Well, you can have it on
we can table this, I guess, if that's what you want to request, because you got to come back anyways with the site plan. We can table this, and then at our next meeting is September 1, 2 weeks away. You can come back then, and we can see if any progress has been made. But at least it gives you an idea of where our heads are right now. Do you want to do that?
That's why I was suggesting, no, we would like to have action on the SPU, and that's why I was suggesting a language that protects the town and give us a chance to get the SPU and then work on the site plan in terms of meeting the requirements of the parking requirement. We can make the building smaller. We can find other areas to meet your requirement, assuming that area cannot be used. I mean, we are obligated to meet the parking requirement.
And under the current site plan, you have met the parking requirement, except that you don't really own 3 of those spaces that you have listed on your site plan.
Yes, and that's why I say the site plan, we can table that to address the issue of parking.
So Commissioner Volpe here.
Hold on, Christina. Let me just see what Bob's
Sure.
thoughts are. You made the motion, so you just muted yourself, Bob. There you go.
I said, I guess I don't have an issue if he wants. What I'm understanding is that Seb wants to table the SPU. Is that correct, Seb?
No, I want to table the site plan because the SPU deals with uses. So you're granting us the use, the expansion. And then
Correct.
on your agenda is the site plan, which deals with parking. So we could table the site plan to address the parking issue. Either we have the agreement, and if we don't, we have to reduce our scope, the building size, and those things.
Well, what is Rob's, I mean, based on what Rob,
if this is going to impact the size of the building, I mean, I'm not sure what the problem is as far as getting an agreement with the adjacent property owner as far as parking. If that's a problem and you have to reduce the parking and you have to reduce the size of the building, that's all part of the special permit.
Special permit deals with all the size of the building?
Absolutely. It's about the impact.
If we reduce the size, isn't it in the right direction? In other words, we're not increasing the impact, we reduce it.
I'm not sure what the problem is as far as securing the parking arrangement.
The problem is that there is a feeling that may not happen. And that the property owner has allowed it to be there without any problems for years, since the 70s. But it's like they're not willing to put it in writing. I don't know why.
Well, the commission can act upon the fact that those parking spaces aren't guaranteed, and then adjust the approval accordingly.
So I'm kind of leaning in the direction, Sev, of tabling this and tabling the next one, and then coming back in 2 weeks, so that your client can have a conversation with the owner of those 3 spaces. And we're really sort of, everyone's speculating right now, right? Everyone is thinking, well, what if it doesn't work? What if it does? But nobody knows the answer to that question. So I'm just thinking, if we give it 2 weeks, then we know the answer to the question.
So if you approve the SPU with the stipulation of the parking to resolve the parking, doesn't it cover it? Resolve the parking issue?
Well, yeah, it will. It will, and then if you can't resolve it in 2 weeks, then when you come back with a site plan, if you have to modify it, then you can modify it and present it at that time. You follow me? I mean, if the next 2 weeks, and we're assuming that the site plan is ready on September 1, right? Because I think that Jim Grappone might have a couple questions that are hanging out there, and we're not even on that. That's item C here. But if the site plan isn't ready, right? And we're assuming it's ready on September 1. If over the next 2 weeks, given an SPU with a stipulation as the motion states on the 3 parking spaces, and you need to reduce the size of the building, you're going to do that under the site plan anyways.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. If the commission is okay for me to take action on the site plan portion to address the issue.
If it becomes a problem, yeah.
Yeah, no, it may not be a problem, but if it does become a problem between the 2 individuals, we can address the parking issue by either providing the parking somewhere else, which is only 1 more space, or reducing the scope of the building.
Okay. So we have a motion before us by Commissioner Salker. We have a second by Commissioner Santago. Is there any other discussion from commission members? I see some no's. Sue Locks, if you have any questions, why don't you text them to me? In the meantime, Seth, we had a question that came up that talked about in the chat part of the dialogue here about whether the existing building can remain operational when the new building is being constructed. I think I sense that it probably isn't feasible, but the question's there, so I'll let you answer it.
I would have to check with the owner on that. Most likely, if you're going to demo the pumps, you're going to demo, you're going to remove the tanks. I don't think it's going to happen.
What's the construction schedule on this? Any idea? Ballpark?
In the next year. In the next year or 2.
Well, I mean, once they break ground, demo the building, remove the pumps and the tanks.
I would have to provide that for you. I don't have it.
Okay. I'm just curious because it's just that the business is going to be non-operational for the most part. How about the convenience store piece of that?
Yeah, we would have to discuss that with the client and see. But it's such a large undertaking that
Yeah.
safety is important. So we would have to look at that and see if the convenience store can operate without the pumps, or can the pumps operate without the convenience store. You know, those things.
Okay. Commissioner Gwark, do you have any questions?
This is Commissioner Gwark. Just so I understand what we're doing here, we're still going to vote on Commissioner Salka's motion to approve with the stipulation that he needs to get approval from the neighboring landowner for the parking spaces. That's correct. That's what we're doing?
Correct. The motion is that, you know, to approve the application for a special permit at that location with a stipulation that the 3 parking spaces be memorialized and become part of a permanent part of the
records
structure, if you will. Yeah,
okay.
records.
So Commissioner Gwark again. So if he can't get that approval, that means SPU is null and void at that point, and he's got to come back with another SPU. That's what we're going for?
I think if he can't get it, he has to modify his site plan application, which is still on the agenda.
Okay, so that's this Commissioner Gwark again. So that there's no bearing. He's not going to get shut down the project until he has to come back again, get another SPU. If he doesn't get that, he could just amend his site plan, and that will.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's interested in shutting down the project, Jeff. I think that we just want to make sure that there's enough parking given the current proposal in front of us.
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, I just
so,
want to make sure that we're not gonna. If Seb's all right with what we're discussing and everybody else in the commission is, then that's fine. I just wanted to make sure everybody's on the same
Rob
page.
told some back.
Rob, did you hear Jeff Gwark's?
I was offline for a couple minutes. I have no idea.
So Jeff, why don't you go ahead and just summarize your question so that Rob can hear it. Maybe he has something to add to it.
Yep, this is Commissioner Gwark again. I asked basically the motion that Commissioner Salka put forward, which stipulated that the 3 parking spots, an agreement come together between the 2 property owners and that go on town records with the property that they could use those. My question was, if for some reason they can't get that in writing, the 2 landowners, then will that completely void out the SPU and he's got to come back with a new SPU? That's my question.
No, at this point in time, what we're trying to do here is try to memorialize an existing agreement. It's the best thing to do. If we move forward without having that, you know, it is what it is. It becomes a private property issue between the 2 of them.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted, this Commissioner Gwark, I just wanted to make sure that it's not going to shut down, because if they can't get that memorialized, then he could amend his site plan still in 2 weeks from now at the next meeting with new parking and go from there, and everything would still be on schedule, I would imagine.
Yeah, at this point, they're utilizing those parking spaces as part of the parking count, and it's based on, you know, historical agreement. It's better to have something memorialized for the next potential property owner. However, you know, it is what it is at this point in time. It would be a third-party issue.
Okay, Commissioner Gwark, that's it for me.
Thanks, Jeff. Sav, I see you raising your hand. Go ahead.
My understanding is that we received the SPU with the stipulation that we resolve the parking issue. If the parking with the property owner cannot be resolved, we have to address this somehow in the site plan portion of this.
That's my understanding as well.
Okay.
Rob, is that jive with what your thought is?
Yeah, whatever the commission desires.
Okay. In terms of process and procedure, I believe that you're correct, Seb. Is there any other questions on this? I see Sue Locks is typing here, so I'm just going to give it a second to come through and see what it is. Peter, any question on this?
No, sir.
Okay. So I just heard from Sue. She's indicated that she doesn't have any questions at this time. If we can, we have a motion and a second. If we can call the roll, please, Rob.
This is for the SPU.
Correct.
Okay, Gwark,
Commissioner Gwark, yes.
Locks. Locks via
Yeah,
Hammersley.
she's a yes, Rob.
Macchio.
Got to enter my text as evidence into the public record or something. I don't know.
Macchio.
Commissioner Macchio, yes.
Volpe. Volpe.
Yeah, I think she's having problems too. Let's come back to her in a second.
Terrible night. Centego.
Centego, yes.
Salka.
Salka, yes.
Hammersley.
Hammersley's a yes. Volpe's a yes as well. Motion passes 7-0. Moving on to item 8C, Krasert and Jones site plan application for an expanded building size, add a drive-through and increase the number of pumps. Property owned by Sunrise Southington LLC located 11 Marion Avenue, an I2 zone, parcel size 0.61 acres, SPR number 1801. Sev.
Mr. Chairman, Commission members, Seth Bovino, planner with Cratchit Jones. The proposal is for 3,228 square foot convenience store building with a drive-through and 8 fuel pumps. The property curb cuts will be left as they are. We're going to improve on landscaping. The landscaping plan was submitted. We are proposing native plants, flowering shrubs and trees, and then some perennials. Lighting will be all full cutoff lighting. All DNS control notes and details are on the plan. I believe that the vehicle turning movements for the delivery of fuel is shown on the plans. We're going to look at that dumpster situation that some of the commissioners are concerned with and see what we can do. We will look at parking requirements. Part of this will be excavation required to remove the pumps and underground storage tanks. If there is dewatering necessary, there's going to be filter bags will be used for dewatering and discharge, so that the discharge will be clean water before it enters the drainage system. At this point, based on the discussion that we had during the SPU, and maybe Jim Groupon can chime in on this, I believe he will have additional comments, so it doesn't make sense to have any action on this until we receive his comments and address his concerns.
Yeah, I think Jim Groupon, you have some outstanding questions. You want to talk to that?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I mean, just some of my comments are minor. I didn't get an opportunity to review the revised plans. Sev, you said they were sent in today. I don't recall receiving them. They just may have went to planning directly, but I had some duplicate comments with Dave. On the dewatering, Sev, do you know how old the underground tanks are, if they're leaking in any way?
No, I don't believe they're leaking. We have monitoring wells everywhere. As a matter of fact, some of the monitoring wells were removed. No, I don't believe they're leaking.
Okay. I had a conversation or a phone call from your possible traffic engineer, Scott Hesketh. So I'm not sure if you're submitting a statement for the drive-through, because it appears that based on the location of the message board, there's not a lot of queuing of traffic that could be stored on that driveway before the the traffic to the pump area could get affected. So I'm not sure if he's going to address that.
We'll look into that. There is 14 car queue to the menu board starting at the entrance, which can, stay in line to get to the menu board. And cars, the curb cut is quite wide. The cars can still go to the pumps without interfering with the drive-through queue. But yeah, I'll look into that with the Scott Haskett to see if he will prepare something.
Okay. And lastly, it is in a floodplain elevation area. Is the site balanced with cuts and fills? Do you know?
I don't know about the cuts and fills, but we are above the floodplain. The floodplain, as you can see there, the 146, 147, and the existing grades. If you look at the existing condition map, we are above that because there's a wall there that rises from the brook elevation. So I don't believe we are in the floodplain.
Okay. We have all worked with this applicant before. He's very good to deal with. So I look forward to resolving any issues. I'm not sure if Mr. Phillips or Dave LaValle's comments have been addressed in the revised plans, because like I said, I didn't have an opportunity to review them. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thanks, Jim. I think we're going to get a motion to table on this one. I think that's what the discussion was before. So can we get that motion made?
Commissioner Selka make a motion to table.
Motion by Salka. Do we have a second?
Centego, second.
Centego seconded. So Sev, there's some work to do here, as you've heard. So I think we're probably best just to let you guys do what you got to do, and then we'll come back in 2 weeks and we'll see where we are. Is that okay with you?
I agree. And Mr. Chairman, I want to thank you and all the commissioners to be so patient about that building elevation that we finally were able to get.
Okay. So can we get a voice vote? All those in favor of the motion to table?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Sue Locks is a yes as well. So motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sev. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Moving into administrative items, item number 9. I think Peter Santago has some updating to provide for us on the Regs Review Committee. Mr. Santago, take it away.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I was instructed to be expedient by the commissioner, so I will try to do that. The committee, for a reminder, is made up of myself, Sue Locks, and Joe Coviello. Mr. Steve Judas has attended meetings, as well as Sev Bavino has attended, as along with Rob. So we met pre-COVID and then post-COVID recently. And so the idea was to look at our regulations and look at, a way to continually review them and add some additional structure to our regs in a review way. There was some benchmarking. Both Rob and Sue were great in seeing how other communities do that. One way to do that, we looked at Canton. If you have a spare moment, you could go to Canton's website. Their regulations look great. Of course, they spent tens of thousands of dollars to go do that from an outside firm. I don't think it would behoove our taxpayers for us to do that. So we'll do our best. But we found, though, that there are some things we can do. And Rob, if everybody could see this can everybody see Rob's screen? So one thing you see there is on our webpage, the zoning regs were, as you know, we get a big binder of paper. And those big binders of paper were broken up into these sections. And we asked, well, gee, can we have all that together? And so what they did was the complete set of zoning regs are now in separate, but also here where they're all in one thing. Why is that important? Well, with a Control F, you can now do a word search over the whole document and see, for example, how often does septic occur? Or things like that, because those of us who've been here for a while know, or chickens, yeah, know, we get a reg change and then we say, well, where else does this impact? And we don't know because we're dealing with paper. And so it will allow us from both a review standpoint and when people come before us, for us to have a little more control over consistency of regulation and be able to see more clearly where things are and things like that. And so it may seem minor, but it's kind of a big deal. Like Rob's pulling up density now. Where does the word density occur throughout the entire document? So that if we do make a change, we don't have unintended consequences when we may change one thing somewhere and have an adverse impact somewhere else or an inconsistent regulation somewhere else. And so being able to do this in an electronic fashion, I think will help this commission and future commissioners. The other thing that we asked was, well, if we're going to change regulations or review regulations, when was the last time a particular regulation was changed? Right now, unless you look in footnotes, you have no way of knowing that. As well as, how did we get here? All we are presented in the regulation book is the last entry. And so unless you are an experienced commissioner who keep all the different changes and don't throw them out, commissioners and the public are reliant upon experience to kind of sort of know, didn't we do that before or how did we get here? And so, and all credit to Karen and Rob and Rob's summer intern, whose name escapes me. And Rob, are you able to pull up the Excel or do you want me to?
Yeah, I'm working on it, unless you can get it right now.
Let me try. Can you see that? Anyone? Yes.
We've got it.
So,
You got it?
so this is history of every regulation change since 1965. By date, by regulation. Previous to 1989, all of this was on pieces of paper. That came to the regulation subcommittee meeting, and Karen, God bless her, printed all the pieces of paper that this was. And we said, can we put this digitally? And so Rob's intern put all this stuff into a format. So now, and again, it's in raw form. It's just a straight, Excel document. But now we can see, for example, what's the history of a regulation? How did it become what it was? When was the last time we looked at it? So that, we just looked at it, or the last time we looked at that reg was 1982, or whatever it was. And people who are, history buffs, you'll see the, change to regulations for the dog track that was going to be on West Street in the mid-1970s. Those of us of a certain age remember when that was going to be that way. So now we can have a better idea of how regs got to be where they are. And so if we're going to change them, let's go back and take a look at them, or et cetera, et cetera. You can see the possibilities of doing that. So we said, before we're going to review anything, let's at least see what we got, get a little more structured with some stuff, and we could do a systematic look at regulations presented to the full commission about here's what we see, maybe here's some inconsistencies in language or whatever we want to go do. But we first said, let's get organized. Let's see where we were. And now we can move forward with a good look. Our friends, like our developer friends, and Rob has ideas in terms of inconsistency of language that we may want to look at. The other things that we've looked at, and Rob, I think we were finishing up, or Rob was finishing up, I should say, for lack of a better word, but a checklist. Like, what are the things you have to look at for a special permit, or what are some more simplified ways for us and for applicants to present us to get a little more digital? You know, we're not in the 21st century yet, but maybe we'll get to the 20th century soon and get out of this paper thing and make it easier for other commissioners and ourselves as we move forward with our look. So this spreadsheet will certainly make public and all that. And so that's where we are now. You know, we want to present, hey, go change these regs or do this without first saying what we got. And so with that, I'll stop talking, and Sue, Joe, and Rob, I'll let you talk for a bit.
Okay. On that note, real quick, I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully. All right. Can everybody see that? You should see the Southington homepage.
Yep.
Okay, good. So if you go to www.southington.org, you will see in the drop-down yellow menus right here, Land Use Development Handbook. And pretty much this is everything that we're trying to parrot out to everybody as much as we can. It basically gives us or gives people the guidebook on how they can get approvals and the expectation level, our principles, expectation level, about how we normally turn around permits, roles and responsibilities. It's a two-way street. You know, we try to turn things around, but we also need the applicant to provide us with the information that we need in order to make a decision on their permit or application. What happens at a public hearing, planning and zoning commission process, conservation, ZBA, permit flow charts, basic one. You know, and this is all important to try to like educate the public.
Yeah, and I think we've talked about, you know, taking a page out of Canton too to have more pictures, diagrams in our regulations and things like that as best we could, because gee, a picture's worth 1,000 words about let it look like this, not like this, or things like that. So there's a lot of ways we can certainly modernize what we're looking to do. So there's more to regulation review than just changing language, you know, making things more visual and easier for applicants and easier for us when people come before us to render decisions. So that's kind of where we're going right now, in addition to looking at regs. So, Joe, did you have anything, or Sue? Joe?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, no, Peter, actually, I don't have a lot to add. I think you covered it very well, and I haven't eaten dinner yet. My stomach's rumbling.
Yeah, same with me.
But no, I think that's a good starting point. I'm just interested to get feedback from the other commissioners and the path we're going down, any feedback they have.
That's where I was going next. So what do you folks think so far?
So I think this is really good stuff. I mean, that's really interesting to learn that stuff. And having been someone who looked at our sign regulations a couple of years ago, this would have been helpful in trying to cut through some of the stuff of where we were and where we want to go. So I think you guys have done a great job. I think I look forward to continuing it and coming back to us with a whole set of recommendations as well. If any other commissioner has something to weigh in, they can just unmute themselves and so you identify yourself so Linda knows who's talking?
We'll be here. It's fantastic. Interns are wonderful associates, and I think it's great that we are being more modern in our methods. I look forward to doing the Excel spreadsheet. So thank you. I think it's great. And Control F. What a function.
That's just one thing, one small thing that could the world, you know.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you.
Sure.
If we can control F everything.
Yeah.
You would be surprised.
Yeah. I mean, that's just one thing as an example.
Entered into an Excel vortex here.
And again, I'm going to give, we didn't type anything. This is all Karen, Rob, and Rob's intern. I mean, we asked for something and they went and did it expediently and did a great job. So all credit to them. We just asked for it and they went in it. So the staff is fantastic. I can't say that enough. That's all I got.
Thanks, Peter. Is there any other comments, questions, discussion on this from other commission members?
This is Commissioner Colt. I just wanted to say I realized how much of a lift that was for the staff, and just wanted to say thank you from my perspective. Thanks again, guys.
Thanks, Caleb. Okay, let's move to item number 2 on the administrative items. There's a conversation on the temporary outdoor dining permits. As people may recall, under the Governor's Executive Order 7MM, the process to obtain these outdoor dining permits during the COVID situation was made into a more of an administrative process as opposed to one where they typically would have gone, which is to come to us and get those permits approved. That executive order is set to expire. I'm looking at it right now. I don't really see an expiration date, but if I remember correctly, it was sometime in September.
September 9th.
September 9th. So just trying to get a little bit ahead of it. I wanted to have a conversation and see if what the commission's thoughts are on doing anything that we can to help this group of people out.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Salka.
Commissioner Salka, go ahead.
I agree with you. I think we need to do everything we can. A lot of these restaurants, I don't think, are going to reopen if we really don't take care of them, and if we don't really try to smooth the way for some of the things that they want to do to stay open and stay healthy. We talked about the possibility of, taking it out of our hands and really making it administrative so we can cut through the red tape. And we put together a motion that I'd like to just read to the committee, the board, and just see what they think. And if they approve it, it really turns it over to the planning group and let them cut through the red tape and improve some of these things that are happening for some of our restaurants. And I'll read it to you that we put down on paper and get your comments on it. It basically says to authorize the director of planning to extend any temporary outdoor dining that has not been the subject of a zoning enforcement action, which is operating with a permit issued pursuant to the 2020 gubernatorial executive orders 7MM, to be permitted to operate until January 1st, 2021, subject to the requirements of any additional executive order, and provide that such extension shall not be interpreted to create any non-conforming rights under any local, state, or federal legal authority. I'd like to put that into the record, Mr. Chairman, and maybe get some comments from the commissioners.
Okay, well,
because again, I think we can extend it.
Yeah, I like where it goes. Before we go any further, I think you said you wanted to make that a motion for the commission's consideration.
Yes, sir.
So, okay, so just procedurally, could we get a second and then we can have a conversation? Peter, I see a mouth moving.
I don't. I heard what you said, Bob. I didn't understand totally in regards to would this be, so outdoor dining would be non-structural stuff? In other words, if somebody wants a patio, that sort of thing versus the building? Is that what we're talking about?
Before we start having that conversation, let's just make sure we have a second. I have a text
I
from
didn't
Sidewalk.
understand. I just didn't understand what it said, so I'm asking for clarity on what he said.
Okay, and we can
That's
have
my
that conversation. I'm just trying to follow procedure, that's all. I'm not trying to cut you off. I did get Zulak saying that she would second that motion. So to your question, Peter, and Bob, why don't you go ahead and answer Peter's question?
The bottom line is that right now, the governor's order 7MM really ends in September. So we've got a lot of outdoor dining. It doesn't really change any of that. It basically extends it to January 1st from the September deadline. And instead of coming for the board, they can bring it right to planning and zoning or planning, and they can make the determination. The good one would be Steve, when he talked about the patio that he was trying to put in. It really doesn't change any of the details. We're not going to put up a new structure, but if someone is going to put a covering up, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think Bob Soka hit it on the head, Peter. I think that what it is just, in this time, we've had something like 30 different restaurants around town that have applied for and gotten permission to put out this outdoor dining. There's a level of uncertainty that's happening out there right now because they don't know when this executive order that Governor Lamont issued back in a couple months ago, I guess, what's going to happen with that. He's not indicated whether he's going to extend it or not. I think we're just trying to say for the town of Southington, we're willing to extend that in deference to our restaurants and to make sure that group of people who have been severely hit by this pandemic, that they have every opportunity to make a go of it and be successful. Because absent this, I think, and maybe even it will happen anyways, we're looking at a situation where a number of restaurants that maybe we frequent nowadays may not be there at the other end of 2021.
Right. No, I'm good with that. So what this says, I'm good with this philosophically. What this says is, as long as you're not adding to a structure, instead of having to come to Planning and Zoning Commission to get outdoor dining or whatever, you could do a permit and the planning department can handle it without having to wait every couple of weeks to come to us.
Yeah, I don't think that Governor Lamont's executive order allows for them to set up a permanent situation. I think what it says is that it's a temporary situation, like we did down on Center Street and
okay,
the town. So
I'm good.
Yeah, if I could just jump in real quick. Literally, what this means is that it would extend what we see out in the field until January 1st, 2021.
Right. Is there any comments from any other or questions or thoughts that other commission members want to share?
This is Commissioner Coles. I just have a couple quick comments. So in reality, I think it's fine to extend this, but the reality is that as the winter months kind of come on us, the potential for outdoor dining is going to fade off quickly. And if we can buy these guys at these food service establishments a couple more months without the headache of the uncertainty of going back and forth with however these executive orders are interpreted or extended, I think that's great for us. But I don't see them really being able to operate outside like as currently set up past the middle of October. If we get a early fall snowstorm or something like that, that's pretty much the end of the season. But I think it's a good opportunity for them to kind of to squeeze a little bit of more opportunity out of this tragedy of what we're going through.
I agree, Caleb. I think that there have been occasions where we've had 70 degrees in the middle of December, however, and maybe we hit a run like that, knock on wood. I'd love to see it happen. And maybe a restaurant, down on Center Street who's working outside right now, maybe they set their tables back up and want to serve outside. And I think that's a good thing. Wooden Tap or Plan B, I saw over the last week and a half or so, they finally put a tent up, so they have outdoor dining now. I think that we have to do everything that we can to help these folks out because they're walking on eggshells. You know, it's really an industry that's been hit very, very hard by everything that's happening. And I think that to give them some level of certainty or give them some breathing room, even if it's only for another 3 or 4 months, I think is a good thing. And I think that we should do everything we can generally to promote businesses in our town, but specifically in this case to help the restaurant and service industry out as much as we can, given where they are. So.
One more time. One more thing that I just wanted to put out there. So as the winter months are coming up, I think there's probably going to be a request from some of the food service establishments to include outdoor heating for some of these areas. I just want to make sure that is part of the review process from the fire marshal's office to be able to kind of have a look at that. I don't know if that's existing as it is to erect these structures or not. But I just want to.
There are restrictions on outdoor or heating on some situations like that. Going back to the Hartford Circus fire of like what was it, 1936 or so. So there are restrictions on some of the uses that they can use, but you know, in the occasion where they can use outdoor heating, you know, and I think a place like Back 9 comes to mind. I think they have outdoor heating there. As some of the other establishments, but I think that it has to be a certain structure and that's probably regulated on the state level and not by the town necessarily.
So
the chair is correct.
So the state fire code is jurisdiction having authority for that is the fire marshal in town. So they would be the ones that would regulate that with regard to the type of material that the tent is constructed of. But I was just referring,
or even the type of heating element that you used.
Right. Yeah. Just if they want to include that, we just want to make sure that we know when they put these things in, they didn't need it in the summertime. Now, as we're getting into cold weather, they're going to be adding these things in. So I think we just want to make sure that as they start to add these things in, fire marshal's office or building department, planning department is able to get a look at it to make sure that what they're doing remains safe in the coming months.
Well, if I could, Bob Solka, I think that's addressed in the last sentence of the motion where it says that, you know, not to be interpreted to create any non-conforming rights under any local, state, or federal legal authority. So the fire marshal and the state statute would regulate that. So, you know, I think that's covered under that or caught under that piece of the motion.
That was the intent of it, yes.
So then would it be wise for as the executive order, the variance from the executive order kind of sunsets, do we have the people that have put up these temporary structures reapply for the term of what Commissioner Salka is proposing through January X, so that the applicant can at least show what their plans are for the coming months?
There's no need to reapply under this. It should extend those people were operating under a permit that was issued under the governor's executive order 7MM. So I don't think that they need to come back and reapply for it. I think they're just allowed to. It simply allows them to continue to operate as they are. As I said, we've had about 30 restaurants in town that have taken advantage of that executive order. I think it was a great move by Governor Lamont. I applaud him for that, and I think that we're recognizing that and saying that we should continue it at least until January 1 and give them the option. I mean, the option is up to them. They can use it, or they may not want to, and in that case, you know, that's their option as well.
Yeah, Rob Phillips, Director of Planning. This is all subject to any, future executive order that's issued by the governor. So we're not sure quite yet what he's going to do. What this does is it extends what we've seen for the last 3 or 4 months all the way to January 1st. Whether or not these restaurants can actually, function and make it work, so to speak, that's up to them. But this just continues that.
Does that answer your questions, Caleb, or?
Kind of. I don't want to kill the point, but I'll just add this one last comment that if somebody's going to make a change to what's already been approved, that change is reviewed. That's my point.
Yeah, just to make it clear that the process is reviewed by the building, fire, and health department through our zoning process. So all those departments are involved, and it has to do with crash protection, whether it's fire protection, things of that nature. It's all included already.
Right. Yeah. So again, it's, I've seen far too often in code enforcement, as I'm sure you all have also, that, what once starts as one thing can quickly turn into something else when the opportunity provides itself. I'm done with that.
Okay. Thanks, Caleb. Any other commissioner have any other thoughts or things they'd like to share on this motion?
Commissioner Volpe here.
Go ahead, Christina.
I really hope that the trend goes towards the igloos that they have at Elm City Social in New Haven. There's an entire bubble igloo kind of situation happening, and going into winter, that'd be pretty posh. I think we need that.
Well, I for one tend to believe, and I grew up, going to school in downtown New Haven. I for one tend to believe that New Haven should model themselves that for us, not the other way around. But everyone's entitled to their own opinion.
So quick tonight. I love igloos.
Igloos, yeah. I think they had those out at Back 9. I believe there was a whole story in the Record Journal about that at one time. This was pre-COVID, actually. It was last year.
That's cool.
Yeah. There were plastic things that sit out there and
Yes.
be nice and warm. So.
Yeah, this is Commissioner Albanese. They're called yurts. Basically, they're yurts. That's what they're called. And there's a lot of restaurants that utilize them out west and in New York City. I should say in certain locations where they're able to do that. So, but they could be heated too. So I don't know how that falls into our motion. Our extension, because they're heated. They're heated, so.
Well, I think it comes down to what the governor is going to allow.
Right.
But intimate igloos, I like that.
There you go.
Coined the phrase. So, anyone else? Commissioner Macchio, anything? We got to get Joe Coviello out to dinner. He looks like he's getting anxious there. Okay, I think the conversation is over on this. If we could just have a simple voice vote on this. All those in favor of the motion? Aye.
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 Any opposed? I got an eye out of Sulaks as well. So we're in unanimous support of that. So thanks, Bob Solka, for bringing that up. That was a great idea, and I appreciate you putting the time into writing that up for us. So moving under item number 10, items scheduled for public hearing. Rob, we got like 3 of them out there.
Yeah, we have a little bit of activity coming in here.
Good. We did have a conversation earlier today about whether we might be back to in-person meetings by the time September 1 rolls around. I think that's still up in the air, Rob.
Yeah, I reached out to the town manager before the meeting, and it's still to be determined. So we'll see.
I for one, support us coming back together in an in-person setting. I think that we avoid all the problems that we occurred in this one, and we've had probably about a half dozen meetings at least where we didn't have any real issue, maybe minor bumps in the road. But this one, for whatever reason, seems to have presented a problem. I'm just wondering if something went down somewhere, because again, it wasn't just 1 or 2 people who were experiencing problems. We had people all over the place that were dropping out. Sulaks is communicating to me by text, so that's just kind of an example of the downside of this type of an operation. So, anyways, Rob, for what that's worth, and whatever Mark does, he does, and we'll all abide by that. So, thanks. Item number 11, receipt of new applications. You got 1 new site plan application for a 2-story office and retail out on West Street.
Yeah, that's Kava. They're expanding with another building, another principal building that is.
So Rob, correct me if I'm wrong, but I understand that Kava actually was able to work out a purchase arrangement on that adjoining or abutting property that sat between them and the parking lot for their employees.
Yeah, that's correct. They acquired additional property and they're adjusting the lot lines, which allows them to expand their parking and add an additional building, which is what they're in for an approval for.
That's excellent. Let me ask you this question because I know it came up at that time. This is subject to a sidewalk requirement, correct?
Technically, yes.
Okay. So they have to ask us for a sidewalk waiver and then get a 2/3 majority to vote in favor of their request to waive that requirement.
Yeah, that'll come up when their application is on the agenda. I wouldn't do it now.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just bringing it up to the attention that I remember it being a topic of conversation because of safety issues with people walking down West Street, you know, the employees down to their down the Kava restaurant. So we'll do what we can, I'm sure, to support that business. They do a great job out there, and I'll be interested to see what their holiday light display looks like this year, given where we are and who knows where we'll be. So things change on an ongoing basis. With that, can we get a motion to adjourn?
I'll move, Mr. Chairman.
Motion from Commissioner Salka.
Second, Santiago.
Second from Commissioner Salka. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Guys, you did a great job tonight. We really got challenged there.
Yeah, this is
chocolate covered pretzels.
I loved our teamwork, though. We got that picture up there.
Yeah, that only took a little while, but that's great. Okay, folks,
Hopefully
have a great
we see
day.
you in person next time.
Yeah, I hope so too. So have a great day. Have a great night.
Good night, everybody.
We'll see you. Good job.
Good night.